Welcome to the Lifestyles of the Strange and Exotic Random Book Review, where we will be reviewing Emily Autumn's The Asylum for Wayward Victorian Girls Kindle version. Now, I have been waiting for this for a few years now, because I'm not sure when this particular book in hardcover came out, and it was fairly limited edition, but it was like $60. It was like one of those nice fancy books you would have on your coffee table. And of course that was way out of reach, and if you managed to get it anyways, it was like grasping after smoke. And there was an interview she did, and this was just at the beginning of Opheliac, I think. So post-Opheliac, pre-Fight Like a Girl, in that sort of in-between. She was doing an interview and she was kind of saying, well, the book was just going to come out and there were some issues with, like, she was saying it's like when you write about a book that's true, people more come after you, even though she had changed the names of the various doctors she was dealing with, and that she was going to do like an audiobook version. So I don't know about the audiobook version, but within this past week or so, she released the Kindle version. So I was going to like pre-order it, but apparently you need a freaking credit card, so I'm like, as long as it doesn't go to like $15 or something like that, I'm gonna get it. It's only $3.99 regular price, so I'm like, yeah, I'm getting it. So I managed to get a gift card through my Bing using thingy, and on the week that she had it on sale for $1, so I got this book for $1. So I'm squeeing inside, my little rat inside of me is squeeing. And Emily Autumn, for those of you who do not know, is a entertainer. She's a musician, a violinist, a vocalist, who kind of has I don't want to say vaudevillian. There's a bit of burlesque, there's a bit of Victorian showgirl. It's hard to explain unless you know what it is. It's like you have to be a plague rat to appreciate what it means to be a plague rat. So she's awesome. She started out fairly young, so I think the Enchant days are sort of she's changed over time. Google it. You can do better representation than what I could ever hope to. Basically, where she's at now, the Asylum for Wayward Victorian Girls, and she's working on the movie and the Broadway play that's based on this, was the fact that she has, it's hard to say, well, she's known for her entertainment, but she's also known for being bipolar, kind of like in the same avenue as what Stephen Fry kind of is, that people know, but they don't kind of be like, I have this, Carrie Fisher and things like that. It's people who are now known to have this mental illness. And she has various other things besides, I think, that directly corresponds to her being put into a mental hospital. And she did not have a good, but particularly wonderful time in this. And this is the story of how she was, her experience, and how she managed to kind of cope, if you could even call it that. And the way it's set up, at least in this country, the way I think she kind of put it is where, if you're suicidal and fail, and you get committed to the mental hospital, you're like obligated to be there for like at least 72 years, not 72 years, but it feels like it, 72 hours, and it's like you're legally bound. It's just this weird, well, the American medical system is fucked up anyways, and if you've got a mental health problem, good luck. So she doesn't candy coat any of her experiences, and it starts off kind of what happened and what was going through her mind when that incident happened, and kind of what led her into trying to get help and not, and then as she's in the asylum, she creates this alternate self, basically, from the Victorian times, of someone going through similar. It's so hard to explain, because dealing with mental health in the Victorian times, and we're not that far removed as far as how it's looked at, how it's treated, And it's like, even if you have like what I have, anxiety, people are like, and I have relatives that think like depression is just really, really sad. And it's like, oh, you're just anxious, you know, whatever. It's like, if there was a freaking dial to this damn thing, we'd turn it off or rip it out. You know, we do not have the luxury of adjusting the dial. So it's, there's this tightrope you walk, even if you decide to get on the tightrope, you know, and it is, you can almost feel like the chemicals kind of working against you. It's like, do you medicate, do you not medicate, and it's scary in a lot of ways. So she created this other character, Emily with a Y, in Victorian times, and she was, Emily with a Y wasn't precisely crazy. She was just sort of a victim of circumstance in some ways, and she was sent to this place that wasn't necessarily an asylum. They pretty much used the girls as sort of, you know, a business aspect of, you know, for businesses that weren't quite good. And it's part horror novel, it's part history, it's part real. It's just fascinating. And let me see what my notes. And the Kindle version, and I'm not quite sure if it had it in the cover, not the hardcover, where there's puzzles. There's this like treasure hunt, I think she calls it. And there's pictures and there's clues scattered throughout the book, and there's like links. Let's see. Okay. Before you enter, a note from a watchful friend. Dearest children, this is no ordinary ebook, nor book for that matter. No, indeed. This is an experience, an adventure, a world filled with friends to make, puzzles to solve, clues to spot, and secrets that will become more apparent with each read. Secrets which may take you months to find or even longer. But, should you persevere, you will find that you have not only discovered some of our greatest mysteries, you may unearth the physical location of the asylum treasure itself. And this goes Spoon of the Royals. And I don't think my Wi-Fi's on there, but... Whoop! Back. My Wi-Fi is not on. Go back, go back. No, ancient tablet. Hawks on the ancient tablet. And if it's highlighted in red, it's a link to the website, her actual website. So I do suggest ooh, I didn't even do that before. If you're reading this book, then you are already one of us, and you may not yet even know it. So there's photographs that are like this, and there's words that link to pictures and links. So there's a whole plethora of stuff to kind of delve into. I thought the book was going to be a lot longer, but it was so interesting to me. I've read it in like 3 days, but that's in like multiple hour increments. So there is so much to discover in here. Okay, it goes, a terribly practical note. While this ebook will read beautifully on all devices from e-readers to smartphones to laptops, tablets, and more, there are elements hidden within this book that will appear more readily on devices that allow for full color graphics. So I do highly suggest you get, like, this is a Kindle Fire in that kind of device, so you can really enjoy it, as well as for the playback of audio and video. In addition, your device must be connected to the internet in order to experience all the secrets that this ebook has to offer. And I just haven't turned on the Wi-Fi yet. So yeah, this is just so much. There's so much, and I just nibbled the tip of it. And it's not written in a way that's complicated. It's very, if you've seen her interviews, you'll know how it's written. And her brain works like mine does too, every finite little detail. So I could appreciate how her brain works, because we're kind of, I might not swerve as high as she does, but I still kind of, so it's plainly written, but there's a lot in the words. And I was already a fan of hers anyway, so that's how I came across the book in the first place. see, I'm trying to decipher my notes. It's like, I'm already like 10 pages in, and I feel for her and how scary it is. The medical environment here in the States, at least, is horrible. You're nothing but a number or a person, regardless of, I don't know what it's like in the mental aspect of it. The last time I went to the doctor, I just kind of like vomited. I think I may have anxiety, but it's like you kind of pulled it back because it's like, do I want to go down this route? Because people are a commodity. I mean, you might have the handful who might actually give a shit about you. I've known a few that are like really good doctors that really see the face. And most of the time you just kind of go in, they kind of stamp you. Oh, you're alive? Stamp you out. It's that kind of detachment. And especially now with all the insurance crap going down. Let's see. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure this is a clue, and I'm not quite sure. I don't want to give away some of the, puzzle parts, but the word rat is all through the book, and of course you have the plague rats, which play not as big a role as I thought they'd play, but they're in there, and I know about them, so. Ow, my leg's going numb. Third word, where are you? I need a hand. Ow. 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 And the spoon thing, that's a major part of the book too, so that wasn't just some random picture of a spoon. It does quickly transition from Emily, i.e. the artist, to Emily with a Y, the Victorian counterpart. And it's interestingly done because in the way the book is set up, it's not written like a Stephen King novel. We have chapters, and this happens in chapters. It's all done through correspondence and letters, which is really fascinating. So it'll go through Emily, i.e. how she got into, the hospital and her things, and then the correspondence where she'll be reading the letters that were part of a diary of her counterpart in Victorian times, and then it kind of transitions back and forth, and it's sudden but not jarring, because it's like looking at a set of twins doing the same thing. It's fascinating how it's put together. Let's see. The scattered photos are pretty cool, and the different clues and stuff, so I've only just read the story, so I haven't even delved into that yet, so I think I'll be playing with that later. Let's see. This isn't for the faint of heart either. I mean, it is pretty graphic. Not in like a horror movie kind of way, but she doesn't, if you don't like leeches or the thought of blood or bloodletting, which are things that have actually happened, and I mean, they do sort of apply leeches now. It's sort of more sanitary than some of the newer methods. I mean, there's still stuff like that going on, and it's maybe for like the older children, preteen, teen type group people. Individuals of human persuasion. But it's not like grotesque and disturbing on like that level. But it's disturbing in the fact that this stuff went on. I mean, I think it was probably pretty mild compared to the reality, even now. Let's see. Most of the book is from Emily with a Y, the Victorian's point of view, kind of scattered with Emily, the musician's experience. So it kind of does this, and it ties up nice at the end too. It's something you have to experience for yourself. It's brutally honest, and like I said before, especially with people nowadays, how so many layers of screwed up they are, there's still a stigma to like mental illness. It's like you have to see the actual wound. You're not like considered ill unless you have like, if you're suffering from the plague and you've got pestilence all over you, and it's not something even the person kind of dealing with it can really grasp. It's just sort of like an awareness that something's not right, and you can't really fix it because it's not a physical thing to grab a hold of. So I can appreciate what she went through and kind of her views on the subject. You know, coming from an even more extreme, you know, precipice, as it were. See. So, this book was awesome. I friggin' loved it. And I felt for both Emilys, both versions of them. And bad guys you really loathe. So it's like there's no like middle ground. It's like, okay, these are the bad guys, these are the good guys. You know, how do you know, define sanity? You know, and that is sort of a thing. It's like, who has a right to dictate whether you're sane? You know, what criterion is there, and who made the criterion, and why did they make that criterion? I mean, go back, you know, to what the norms are now. What are they built on? You know, especially if you're a girl and it's crazy. Yeah, there's so many. We're still infantile in that. So, this was really good. If you're interested in mental health, whatever like that, if you're interested in horror stories, if you know who Emily Autumn is, if you like puzzles, you know, there's so much this book has to offer. I don't know how long she's going to have it on sale for 99 cents, but at $4, this is more than awesome. And I do highly suggest going after her music. And her latest album was Fight Like a Girl, which of course I have. To fight like a girl is to fight without mercy and to the death. So, yes, I'm proud to fight like a girl. And I think I still have tea. So read this book with a nice cup of tea in hand. You're good to go. So, thank you for watching. Do remember to comment, rate, share, and subscribe. There's always room for one more at the Strange and Exotic. See you next time. Now, my fellow playgrats. Bye!